Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Heido. Today we are here at WILHELMINA STRAAT. We are in front of the Elmar, which is the company that distributes the power supply, the power of the whole island of Aruba. They receive the power from the WEP, which is situated in Balashi, or at Balashi. Also known for the name of the Balashi beer and Balashi cold meal and things like that. And right now I am asking for your patience just a bit as we are walking briefly first through a construction zone. They are doing a construction or reconstruction of this intersection. But I wanted to start here because of this building. It has right now the Madeira Cafe, and I used to boast also the Italia Cafe, I do believe it was named. And I wanted to mention just that some of the best pastéis are by the local Portuguese community that still, you know, generations after are still very, very much part of this community. They used to sell here on the other side, so on this side they used to sell some of the best pastéis in Aruba, but they are not doing that anymore actually right now. And at some point I will be also walking here on this side of the street, which is not the WILHELMINA STRAAT. The WILHELMINA STRAAT is on the other side, but I briefly wanted to show some of the other areas here. And the On the Rocks Cafe, among other things, is also one of my favorite, really good burgers, and a very, you could say, like a very local place. Now this is part of the intersection. Used to have years and years one of the, how do you say, the traffic lights was very popular here, very busy, and so many of them have been replaced by the roundabouts now all over the island over the last couple of decades. Now recently we had a pretty nice sum of the lotto, the mini mega, the way we call it here. We had a winner, a lady who won over 3 million florins, more or less $1.5 million. And we're going to do a somewhat of a slow walk today, so I can explain why I think the WILHELMINA STRAAT is one of Aruba's possibly best kept secrets. You know, I definitely think that it's one of those streets that is just with so much potential and so much history, and also unfortunately a lot of history has gone away. But as you can see, some hair studios, some carpentry and parts for your cars. There's the 809 Nightclub. Now, I'm not familiar with it, but I did visit the nightclub, this nightclub, in the past, but not recently. So it has been, what it looks like, it has been remodeled. It looks fairly good right now. And so we can find a lot of old buildings in or on the street. And pardon the traffic noise that we will encounter throughout this video, because it is a very, very heavily used street to get to the city. And that's why it's actually right now midday, more or less, and the bus is here. So if you're wondering about a bus stop, this is also right here. And this is what used to be the toy store. The Toys for Us toy store also closed a while back. And I was just showing you this house because this is one of those houses we'll start seeing here on the street. And let me see if I can cross briefly. Show you something kind of funny that I just bought it with the bottles on the wall. That's pretty interesting. And this used to also be used a lot here on the island. And with the stones that we are seeing here, this is not very common, but interesting to see. And so we will spot a lot of these older houses, older buildings and types of houses. But an important part of the street is, of course, the restaurants that are situated here along this street. And one of them, the first one that we get here, is the Universal Restaurant, Cantonese Cuisine. And yeah, I haven't dined here, I haven't had lunch here in quite a few years, but it used to be really good. It used to be owned by a friend of my family. Very nice folks. And so I think this whole building is owned by the same restaurant. So let me show. So I'm gonna be zigzagging a little bit through this street so I can show you the view from the opposite side. And this is, you could say, one of the most beautiful buildings on this street. Quietly it is. And it has not been remodeled, but certainly a very large building. And right now hosts or has been for quite a few years the Diario TV, which is the local newspaper, but also they have a channel on cable TV, and they will show mostly like sports events and special news and things like that. Now here on this other side, so I wanted to show you from afar so you can catch it. But I do believe, upon research, that this is somewhat of an Airbnb hostel apartment style. I do believe that this one has a swimming pool in the back and is, at least from the photos that I saw online, is quite nicely redecorated. And it's definitely a beautiful building also. And we are approaching on our left side the El Gaucho, which is definitely, as you can see, a 45th anniversary. That's probably a couple of years ago, but that's definitely one of the icons. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Venimos desde Colombia.
¿De Colombia?
Sí.
Muy bien. ¿De vacaciones, supongo?
De
Sí.
vacaciones, sí. Gracias a usted los guiamos.
Ah, bueno.
Muchas gracias.
Qué pena que no hablo español en los videos, pero sí lo entiendo perfectamente. Sí. Estoy grabando esta calle porque tiene muchos buenos restaurantes y un poquito de los edificios viejos que todavía existen.
Muy bonitos.
Sí, por eso.
Cuidado.
Sí, exacto. Bueno, que disfruten, un placer. Gracias, igualmente. Some subscribers and viewers from Colombia, that's a surprise. So, where was I? With definitely El Gaucho is definitely an icon restaurant of all of Aruba. A very extremely well-known Argentine grill. And if you are a steak lover, definitely check them out. Now I'm going to turn around quickly and show you Bits and Cheeses, which I do believe is owned by the same owners of El Gaucho. And we're not going to go inside right now, but it's a beautiful building also. And while I have not eaten here yet, that's definitely part of the idea in the near future to check them out. I'm going to go on the other side, and then so we are at the Wilhelmina Straat in Wilhelmina. By the way, used to be the Queen of the Netherlands. And let's see, I'll probably make quite a few mistakes today, but she was queen 1898, I do believe, till the year 47, 48 or so. So she endured the First and Second World War, among other things. Now I do, and I have seen this restaurant has the Olivia name now, Mediterranean, and I am not, to be honest, not very familiar with it yet. But this building used to be of the Brinci, B.J. Arends and Sons. Used to be a what's that called again? So they used to own this building, if I'm not mistaken. They used to have a building here, that building, and also the one way over there. So like a home center. And it used to be like the most popular home center on Aruba, definitely the one they should be at. Now, giving, like honor to the street, we also have the Wilhelmina Restaurant, which I don't know how well you can see the items that they have, but it's definitely also considered one of the top restaurants in Aruba. And while we are venturing a little bit off the Wilhelmina street or straat, we say straat in Papiamento, but it's actually a Dutch word for street. So instead of double E, they have double A, and the pronunciation is different. Carte Blanche is also one of those restaurants. Is it still open? I do believe it is. And so many things change quickly here, and yeah, that's why sometimes we don't immediately realize. Now we are going to go through this park. Now, pardon me, I don't know the name, but you can see a beautiful tree with, this is the Flamboyant Tree, which is full of flowers lately, and is also known, when we were kids, we used to play with those things, with the seeds, and we used to have so many of them, but it's good to see so many of them still today. And I don't know the name of this park, to be honest. Let's see if we can briefly go on this side. Maybe there's something written here. It's a beautiful park. Bruno Justiniano Arends. So this was Brinci, right? So lived from 1903 to 1990. Mandrici non mester sa lo que man robesta sa tahasi. So your right hand doesn't need to know what your left hand is doing. That's a good quote. So they tore down the building quite a few years ago and decided to build this little park along the street. I think it's beautiful, not large indeed, but in Aruba everything is any smaller size, of course. And you could say that this somewhat of a blue building here on the other side, it used to be like their main building with most of their supplies, and also where we are standing. So these two buildings were, part of it was a home center, part of it was a hardware store, and they had also some of the other buildings. Let's take a brief look back at the Wilhelmina Straat. We will continue through this one, and what I can see right now, there have been other things in this building, but right now the American University School of Medicine Aruba, in case you are wondering. Now, one of the interesting additions recently is the Taste My Aruba. And we can see it again, the B.E. Adams, established 1921. The Taste My Aruba is now here instead of next to the Jamanja bar or restaurant, pardon. And yeah, I did dine here, by the way, with my good buddy Josh. It was a nice experience. Thank you so much, and hope to see you in Aruba very soon. So we are going to cross this one, and oh, look at the nice floors and the nice, they've done a fabulous job, by the way, at this restaurant. The decoration, the way that they have changed it and everything, and looks beautiful, beautiful. And the reason that we chose the WILHELMINA STRAAT for this video is that because I did a poll, in case you did not notice, to ask where you would like to, see me do a walk next, and I thought the beach would definitely win, but that didn't happen. It happened that everybody wanted to see something from Oranjestad, and this is one of them. The Bistro de Suikertijn, definitely one of the favorite, places, and almost a hidden gem restaurant. You can come here during the day, and they'll have lunch specials, and it's a very, very beautiful place to come and dine. And I did with Rick Toner, also with his family. Hello to him and his family. Hopefully they are watching this one also. Very, very, very nice experience. So we take a look from this side also. I'm not gonna cross the road yet, but show you some of the other things that are available. And the Meistervrouw has been also an icon on the street for being especially popular during the carnival season, where they have so many things that help the folks from the carnival to finish their costumes, etc. Now, I just wanted to briefly go back here and show you the Mario Sports Shop. There's also a sports shop here, in case you might be looking for something. This is one of the also old sports shops and popular sports shops of Aruba. Next to it, this beautiful house, and this is where it only starts getting more and more interesting. And I believe this one is La Casa Roja. Let me see if I can get. This will be a slow walk, as I mentioned. So let me see. So let me see if I can pull up some photos that I prepared for you guys. And I think I have one. Did I not? Yes, I did. So this one is actually a monument, and while I cannot really give a lot of information about it because it is contested. La Casa Rosada. I probably botched up the name. Another one here. Beautiful architecture. So La Casa Rosada, this is pretty much the way it used to look like from this angle, and you can see the old cars around it, and the Meistervrouw building already existed, so you can still see parts of it along the road. And I don't know if it is an Airbnb style place, but what I do know is that it has been contested of how the story of the house really is. And here next to it we see some old houses again. And as we continue along this street, several of the monuments of Aruba are situated along this street, so I'll be pointing them out and hopefully not forgetting them. And while these need to be restored, many of these houses and buildings are, even in their deteriorated state, they look beautiful in my opinion. But this one used to be almost how do you say it? How you couldn't restore it almost, and look at how of a beautiful job they did to restore it. I don't know what it's going to be moving forward, but just like that you find more and more of these beautiful houses and stuff. Now, if you are wondering about the parking along this street, your guess is probably as good as mine right now. I have heard that the auto parking is not necessarily controlling like they used to, but please do avoid the yellow lines. So don't park in between these yellow lines. Always park along the white lines and you should be okay. Now this is the Oranjestad police station, obviously, and this is still, I do believe, considered the main station, as is here on the other side. So that's in case you have any issues, hopefully not, but in case you do, this is probably where you should be, and we hope that you will remain safe throughout your trip here to Aruba. The next one is the Aruba Investment Bank building, which is also was also restored years ago, and is also a beautiful, beautiful building. I have been inside some of these. I'm not sure if this is a monument. I believe it isn't, but doesn't matter. It's a beautiful building. Now, this is the restaurant, I don't know, 1877. And there used to be the Cubist cooking here. They used to be here for many years. And while this house, restaurant slash, doesn't look like much from the outside, it's a beautiful property also. And we'll give you an idea of their menu. You can pause the what do you call it? You can pause the video at any time and try to check them out if you are watching on a large TV. I'm gonna try to cross so I can give you a better perspective. See, they have a beautiful garden next to it, and I did forget to mention something about the Casa Rosada, by the way, which is compared to some of the land houses, the country houses, landhuis in Curacao. It's compared to some of those and has that resemblance, which not many houses here have that actually. Oh, there is a restaurant here. That's interesting. Maybe I should cross and take us just a sneak peek inside. Oh, this is interesting. Maybe it's been here for a long time. I did not realize it, but so as you can see, there are many restaurants along the street, and most of them are really, really good. And that one looks good too, actually. Not very talked about, but it certainly looks good. And another beautiful building, beautiful, beautiful, as is here the what's this mall again? This like a small mall here. Not per se with a lot of shopping, but mostly with offices and things like that. Still called a mall. And we have the Kip Pasa, which is this one. Probably a lot of you are familiar with it. And on the upper level now is the Fred restaurant also, which is has been getting more and more popular. And let's see the Que Pasa. Restaurant. So they're closed right now, but open and I just noticed that this one is probably also a monument. Whenever you see a sign like this one, it's also a monument. And you can also pause the video. I have to be honest, I am not very aware of the history of it, but I did cross also to show you the building next door, which is apparently owned by the Meta Corporation now, or at least has been remodeled and stuff. And next to it is the auto parking offices, in case you are run into trouble with the parking. We can see one of them going there, like the parking attendants. Now, there used to be the Tivoli Club. Was it? I'm a little bit confused now. Was it this building? Or wasn't it here? I'm totally confused right now, but that's more or less the Tivoli Club. It used to be like a social club. Then used to be the Caribe Club and Tivoli Club. Very contested, especially during carnival season. They always wanted to be the best. And yeah. This one has also been remodeled and into a Optica Cock. And let's see. So the Paris restaurant, I did have a photo I want to show you guys. Let me see if I can, just a second, I'll be pulling it up. So I don't know how well you guys can see it, but we are standing more or less where this house used to be, where the Paris restaurant, and the green one is this one, and you can see part of the Protestant church tower up ahead. And we are not going to go in that direction, but you can also see the Willem III Toren and parts of the Fort Zoutman. And I did have photos of that one. Let me see. Where are they? So this is the way it used to look like. So it used to have like a roof on top of it. This is not taken from this area. Oh, this one is interesting. This was supposedly the first photo ever from Aruba. Hopefully you are able to see it, but there was nothing basically around it. Only that house and the tower. And that little house is the restaurant you see, the yellow small house type building next to it. Let's continue our walk. Let's wait briefly for the cars to pass. And here on our left, this beautiful restored building is the city hall. And this is where you will do the civil wedding. Oh, beautiful flowers too, by the way. Beautiful. And yeah, this is still used today. So it is definitely used, and it was restored more or less in the late 1990s. And it used to be a former house of Eloy Arends. It was built around 1922 to 1925. Yeah, and restored 1998. And Eloy used to be, I do believe, a doctor, a very prominent doctor here on the island, and he built it for his future wife. And from what I read, she was not allowed to see it for, imagine that, a couple of years before she can actually see the house that she would live in later on. And this building was also owned, or probably still owned, by the Arends family, and is in the process of, so like it is a monument, but it's in the process of, a long process rather, to be restored. And those things take years and years of process that needs to happen before they can restore it. But this is definitely one that I've mentioned it in the past. I dream of seeing it restored. And years ago, the Papiamento Restaurant, which still exists today, used to be, I do believe, on the upper level of this one. I used to go there myself years ago when I was way younger. Not gonna mention how much. So all of these last couple of buildings are monuments. Of course, not the Paris restaurant. And also this other one, which is the Algemeen Rekenkamer of Aruba. Used to be the first public school built in late 1880s, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken. Court of Audit Aruba, that's the translation I was looking for. And it used to be a military post during the war period, and also a library, public library, for a few years. I remember as a very, very young kid, I did come here a few times before it was closed for renovation, and they changed plans on it. Now the autobus, I don't know if you would be using this service, but if you are, this is the autobus stop where you would get a lot of them going to St. Nicholas. I don't want to say don't use it, I don't want to say use it. I'm just saying that maybe you want to stick to the Arubas, but it's up to you. And this is the Daily Mar Peruvian restaurant. And Tari. So I'm going to show you the menu of this Peruvian restaurant. Peruvian cuisine is so good, so good. And let me go here to the right first briefly, or let's do this one first. And this is the Jemanja, which is one of my favorite restaurants here on the island. Definitely one of my true favorites, and I'm not afraid to say it. It's really, really good in my opinion. Not per se the cheapest, but most restaurants in Aruba are somewhat expensive anyway, so if you want to go for something good, that's one of the restaurants you want to go for. Now this church that we are looking at, we actually can see two churches. So this is the new one and this is the old one. Both are Protestant. The new one is in use, the old one is only for special occasions. It is said to be the second oldest building in Aruba, dating back from 1846, and it's only the Willem de Derde Toren, so the tower we saw previously, that is older than this one. And we can also see the sign, so it is a monument. And my great-grandfather used to live somewhere here. There used to be a house over here, and they tore it down more or less in the 1950s to build the new Protestant church. Have been just only once in this one, this old one a couple of years back, and it has been beautifully restored. Unfortunately, it's not open to the public normally, and I was able to on a public holiday. So let me see if I have a few photos of this one. So where we are walking now, so this building is the yellow building right here, and this is the house where my great grandfather used to live, and this is the old church that we are seeing. So this photo was taken from that side actually. Let me see if I have more of it. Oh, there's this one. So you can see the church and the house was more or less situated where the new one is right now. Before I continue, I wanted to briefly mention something. We will take a brief detour now. I wanted to mention that the person that just walked past us, and which I said hello to, is actually a minister of Aruba. So he's the minister Andy Cruz, and among other things, he is in charge of the education of Aruba, so the children, and this is where the ministers would sit. So they're probably having lunch right now, and Jamanja obviously is closed. Most of the restaurants are open at night, and this one used to be, or is actually also a monument. Used to be a government building, and this is where the government used to be years ago. Let me see if I can get part of the history. So it was built probably in 1910 or so. Yeah, so we are also near the Renaissance Hotel, which is this one, this large building here in the back. And in the past, the police station used to be here. So in the mid 1980s or so, this hotel was built, and the old police station was turned down. Many to this day feel sad about it, because it was a beautiful police station. It was, you know, like, it was more or less close to the water, close to which we can see there. And yeah, it used to be like a central part of the city. Unfortunately, I do not have a photo, but you can find them sometimes online. So more or less, this is where the photo was probably taken, where we can see the church again. We are almost coming to an end of this walk. I hope you have been enjoying it. We are going to end more or less at the Plaza Daniel Leo, and let's see if I'm gonna cross. I'm gonna stay on this side, and remember these blue horses that are also scattered, showing the paardenbaai, or the horse bay that we refer to. So now more or less this is the Wilhelmina Straat. There is an extended part of it going further up from where we started, so at the Elmar. And there's also part of this going by, but I definitely think that it's one of those streets with the most potential on Aruba. And I think that hopefully, or I hope actually, that more and more of the houses and buildings are restored, and maybe we can make it one of the top places to come to dinner. I definitely think that it's something to look up to. So we are here at the Plaza Daniel Leo. Daniel Leo used to be a diputado, and a politician here, and this is where most of the popular photos of these buildings are taken, these colorful buildings here in the city. And I think he was we used to call him, yeah, so he passed away in 1989. And as I've shown in previous videos, you got the Zara, you got other shops and things like that. You have a map, you can rent. Oh, they took away the bikes here. That's good to note. There used to be a bike post here, so you could leave your bikes here in this area. But I wanted to finish here because I felt maybe some of you wanted to reference from where we were walking from, and maybe you want to do this walk yourself at some point and finish here at the what was I talking? I'll finish at the main street, which is this one. That's the main street. Calle Betico Cruz used to be also the Nassau Straat years ago, and renamed to Calle GF Betico Cruz. And yeah, I hope you have liked this walk, this video, and find it very, very interesting. Nothing further for this time. See you guys next week, and enjoy Aruba. Bye bye, guys.